Hi, I'm Tor, and today we'll be checking out Marzocchi's brand new air shock, the Bomber Air. There's a bunch to unpack in this guy, and we'll be going over my impressions after riding this shock for a couple weeks, as well as a quick comparison to its close relative, the Fox Float X. We're super excited to finally see an air shock option from Marzocchi to complement their Bomber CR, which has been super popular for its affordable price point and hassle-free setup. The Bomber Air is offered in all the common metric and trunnion sizes and is built to work on any bike, from a slopestyle bike all the way up to a full-size freeride rig. This shock can do it all. The weight comes in at about 480 grams, but will vary depending on its sizing configuration, and pricing is $479. The Bomber Air is about as easy to set up as its coil-sprung brother, with just a single compression lever next to its rebound knob. That compression lever is attached to the asymmetrical reservoir, which has a little angle to its dangle off the body of the shock. This isn't just a fashion statement, and it allows the shock to fit on a wider range of bikes. On some frames with vertical shock, the reservoir can come dangerously close to the down tube during a bottom out. And Marzocchi has given the Bomber Air a bit of extra room to play with by hanging this reservoir off the air can at a slight angle. All right, back on the adjustments. We already mentioned that compression lever on top of the reservoir, with your options being soft and firm. Similarly to their Z1 fork, this dial is an infinitely adjustable sweep adjust lever in between those soft and firm settings. The idea is that you can set and forget this lever once you found a comfortable setup. I ended up leaving it in the soft setting while descending to maximize traction and use that firm setting to get a more stable climbing platform on longer fire road climbs. But unfortunately, it's not a true substitute for a lockout lever. There's still a noticeable amount of pedal bob when compared to a shock with a true lockout, but it made enough of a difference that I kept using it. The rebound knob has 12 clicks of adjustment, which provided a great range, and I settled at 7 clicks from closed, right about the middle. On the inside of the shock, you can also add air volume spacers to increase the progressivity of the shock and handle those big hits with just a little bit more finesse. Setting up this shock was about as easy as it gets. Once I set my sag, I was about 90% of the way there, and after a little bit of fiddling with the rebound, I was off to the races. This shock is remarkably similar to the Fox Float X, but with fewer frills around the edges. The Float X has a larger range of low-speed compression adjustments with markings on the dial to help you see where you are in the compression circuits, and they both have the same number, 12 clicks of rebound. The biggest difference is the lockout lever on the side of the Float X, which can be a big help if your frame suffers from extreme amounts of pedal bob. Out on the trail, I found these shocks to offer very similar performance to each other, to the point of actually not remembering which one I was on during one of our back-to-back runs. Both shocks offer a very active platform that loves to launch off every bump in its path. And I felt like I could pop out of corners with ease, but at the same time, I didn't get the same confidence coming into chundery rough sections that I would have with something like a Float X2. It would get a bit harsh when taking repetitive big hits, and didn't quite have the supple ground-hugging feeling of a dedicated downhill shock. Let's back up though, because we can't expect the Bomber Air to compare to a shock that's several $100s more expensive, and it offers more than enough performance to get you through some properly chunky sections of trail without skipping a beat. There wasn't a moment when I was riding this shock that it held me back from sending a gnarly line or a big jump, and I was very happy with its performance. But when pulling back off a lip, I was always impressed by the liveliness of the Bomber Air and how it encouraged me to get airborne. This shock is definitely happiest on a more flowy, jumpy trail than the most bone-rattling downhill track you could find. So, who is the Bomber Air for? Well, if you find yourself reaching for the lockout lever on those longer climbs, or are always tinkering with your compression settings to dial in your suspension performance, then the Float X will suit your needs perfectly. But anyone who wants to spend more time sessioning jumps and corners than worrying about how much pedaling efficiency they're losing from their shock bobbing around will be right at home on the Bomber Air. If you're after a set and forget shock that offers a premium level of performance with minimal setup time, then the Bomber Air is a great option for you. Well, that's about it for this quick run through on the Bomber Air. If you're looking to buy one of these bad boys or any of the other products we mentioned in this video, then head over to thelostco.com where we carry all of these shocks. If you're interested in more mountain biking videos like this, then like the video and hit the subscribe button, and we will see you around next time. Thank you.